The white dress, the flowers, the exchanging of rings and vows for a lifetime spent together. While some picture this as the ultimate goal, marriage rates among millennials and Gen Zs are on the decline. According to a survey by the Angus Reid Institute, 73%, nearly 3 in 4 of people between the ages of 18 and 34 have never been married. And 1 in 6 in this group say they may not get married, ever. So what's influencing this view? Are we just delaying the commitment? Do we see marriage differently from previous generations? Or are there other factors getting in the way of our happily ever after? As we grow up, we find ourselves challenging conventional ideas and questioning what generations before us just simply accepted. So today we want to unpack a controversial question. Does marriage still have value in today's society? Guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to My Generation. Joining me today is Anthony, Josh, and Claudia to discuss marriage a little further. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so my first question is, why do you think marriage rates are dropping? What's the thought? Are we just getting married later? Is Gen Z not wanting to get married?
I mean, there's a ton of different reasons, right? Like if you look at the cost of living, that's huge, right? So the cost of a wedding is also astronomical. And then if you also look at the fact that the divorce rate's so high too, it's like, what's the point, right? When you look at relationships nowadays too, there's so many different relationship dynamics now that may have existed somewhat in the past, but they're more so kept in the shadows where now they're celebrated.
So you think relationship dynamics are also shifting?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Now, stats show that adults over the age of 35, actually, their interest in getting married drops significantly. Anthony, why do you think that is?
I think there's just this societal thing that's set up where it's, if you're not married by then, you're probably not getting married. I think that's why they did.
Why get married at that
Exactly,
stage?
and I think that's the thing. I also think common law has become very popular. I have a lot of friends that are doing that. They're not planning on getting married at all. They're living together. They're very happy.
Is that because of the cost, though, like Josh said?
I just think that a lot of people don't want to call it a marriage. I think we're getting rid of labels. You said relationship dynamics, they're changing. And I've noticed that happening a lot, especially with people that I know.
Do you guys think work culture comes into play? Claude, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, work culture for sure comes into play. I mean, firstly, you need 2 incomes for buying a house or anything like that. So if you wanted to get married and have kids and have a family, you would have to really think financially how you would go about that. So
I know a young couple that just recently got married. They had a child before marriage. They were living together before marriage. And then they got married. And I asked, like, why? And what they had mentioned was it was a form of commitment. You guys think that is?
What's the difference? Really? I mean, for me, I think marriage, I've always seen it as the last emotional contract with somebody. Like, this is like, it's you and I, yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't have to be that way. I think it's all about how individual people see it, and the example you gave, maybe that's how they saw it, is we have the kid, we have each other, this is the final step, let's do it.
Do you think there are any other changes in our society that are pushing us to not get married? So, like, obviously it's too expensive, but that could also just be an excuse. What about the I haven't met the right person? Are standards too high in relationships now to say, well, they're not perfect, so we're not getting married?
Standards too high, but also like the wealth of options or appearance of wealth of options. Right?
Yeah.
Dating apps, you have 100 choices a day.
Yeah, I mean, and some people
if you
have 100
subscribe,
choices
you have
a day.
unlimited.
Some people have 100 choices a day when they walk out the door, right? So like the reality is that is a major factor as well, where, I mean, people are willing to put up with far less nowadays, I would say.
Now, 40% of marriages today in Canada end in divorce. Let me ask you guys this. Has our generation been influenced differently? What kind of changes in our society are leading to that statistic?
I mean, I think it's a lack of ability to deal with problems. I feel like because commitment's a lot lower. I would say that's why the majority of people are not getting married, because they haven't found someone who's willing to put in that commitment with them.
Have we idolized, like, marriage relationships so much that the standard is so high to have a good marriage?
No, I just think that people are not willing to commit because they have this wealth of options. And then I think when it comes to trying to get married and things don't go so well or problems start to arise, people are less likely to deal with them because they can say, oh, well, I could move on and have a better relationship with somebody else. So then they call it quits.
And that kind of comes down to the wealth of options. Exactly. One of my questions is my generation also afraid of commitment? And we'll explore that a little bit later. When we come back, what is the purpose of marriage? I know Anthony was wondering, so we'll see. I'ma rule the world, yeah.